So we are recording.
Okay.
We're going to go over interviewing in a little bit. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes. Since we missed last week, I'm afraid we'll have people out. What happened good at your job this week? Anything interesting or fun?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I presented yesterday at our staff meeting. I've been trying to figure out how I can incorporate 21st century cooperation skills and things like that into my lessons.
Yep.
Well, across the board, all of my classes, all of the math classes need to know about growth and decay and interest and compounding it yearly and quarterly and so forth and so on. So I had them research a stock for 10 days.
Uh-huh.
So we graphed that to see the change in the stock and talked about, okay, well, if I had held on to this stock for a little while longer, what do I think might have happened? Or if I had sold earlier, I could have made money, or, you know, those kinds of conversations. Then I had them go online and choose a home and a vehicle and calculate their monthly payments. And they had to come up with a budget and find a job that would meet those budget requirements.
Okay.
Then they all had to, I had 2 or 3 people from each one of my classes paired together as a group. And they had to collaboratively, online only, create a presentation to put their findings on.
Oh.
And today I had each of the groups, like the 2 people in first period for our alpha group, had to present the whole presentation from their alpha people from all of my classes.
Neat.
So it's all day long. They had to present over and over. There were 4 presentations,
Uh-huh.
and 2 or 3 in each class presented each one of those. And so it was interesting because also because this was the first time that they had to do something like that.
Yeah.
I provided a survey or asked them some survey questions. What did you like? What did you dislike? What was the favorite part? What was the least favorite part? Would you like to continue doing these kinds of activities? And if you don't like these activities, what other kinds of activities would you like to do that incorporate the computer by way of a product that you have to turn in?
Right.
And got some very interesting answers, and I got to present it to my staff members yesterday. So it was real cool. And I've got people calling me wanting me to tell them how I set it up and that kind of thing. So they're going to try that in their classes. So I was like really excited about that. So
that is. That's cool. That's very cool. Welcome, Christine. Glad you can make it. And Mark also. Appreciate y'all showing up tonight. I just flew in, so I'm a little groggy and a few hours behind. But, hiring is one of my favorite subjects, actually. Something I felt I was fairly decent at. So I thought I'd share with you a couple of my tips, and then you guys butt in. Feel free, please. Something happen, or a good example of something. But there's also all kinds of good tools under Zoom 10 on the left side of your new Blackboard toolbar. But a couple things I learned along the way: interviewing questions. The best predictor of behavior is past behavior. So anything you can try to figure out, any way you can pose a question to get someone to give you an idea of what they might do in the future is well worth your time. For example, someone graduating from college maybe has no real work experience, but if PLCs, for example, are important to you, you can ask things about, like, when you worked on a group in college, how did you like it? What did you do? Those sorts of things. So you find out more about what a person's like. So say her answer is, I hated group work because there was always some lackey in the group who let everybody else do the work, which there always is. But if you're a good group worker, you never say that. So you found out things like that. I was also given the best interview question of all time by one of my former mentors, who did a whole dissertation on this, and that was, what's the best question to ask? And he found out that the best question to ask in an interview is, tell me about your favorite teacher growing up. Just that simple. Because we become teachers, most of us became teachers long before we actually were teachers. I mean, if you ask a group of prospective teachers when did you know you wanted to be a teacher? I guarantee you 50% of them will talk about playing with dolls in their bedroom at home. And you all see it. I can see it on your faces. You do it too. But he said, and he rightly said, we all went to school for a long time. And we really put together our impressions of what school is all about when we were students, not in college, when we probably already felt like we knew what we were doing anyway. So by asking about their favorite teacher, you get their vision of what the perfect teacher is. So if someone presents this, their teacher was a great disciplinarian and there was never any noise in the room and everybody did everything they were supposed to, then you have to explore further where were the desks in rows and did they give a lot of work to keep people quiet? What was it? Because you might find out that's really what that person thinks teaching is all about. Let's see. So anything you can craft to find out how they've done things in the past, the better off you're going to be. Other tips on hiring and interviewing. If you can do it, always include some members of the teaching staff in your interview session. Because if they're in on it and they agree on it, they're more likely to support the teacher that is hired than if you just do it on your own, when they may or may not like it. But if they are actually have some skin in the game and were part of the group who picked someone, they are far more likely to actually then support that person. In fact, sometimes you're better off to take someone that you might not have thought of as highly as what the teacher group did, but in terms of how much support that person is going to get from that group, you want to go with them. Okay. Other things, please, when you become principals, you guys, avoid passing the trash. And that's something you'll hear all the time. One way you can keep from the trash being passed to you is actually making those phone calls, following up on references, and talk to someone, because lots of times you can hear between the lines and what they're saying. And when they're talking to you one-on-one on the phone, they're less likely to just give you a bold-faced lies when they're filling out a form for an HR department. So they're not going to tell you over the phone someone was awful, but you can start to hear, well, maybe they just didn't fit in here and they wouldn't fit into my school either. If you have to wait, if you have no good choices, a sub is better than a bad hire. I hate to say that. I made that mistake several times. I was good at hiring, but when I was bad, I was really, really, really bad. And it was embarrassing how bad it was sometimes. And usually it was because we weren't thorough about what we did, and we felt like we had to have an 8th grade math teacher, and it turned into a disaster of a year for the entire 8th grade because the guy was terrible. Okay, big questions to ask. Number one is would this person be okay in my child's classroom? Would I want my child to be in that teacher's room? And the other one is, how is this teacher going to affect school culture? What we've worked so hard to build here is a feeling of whatever it is that's important to you and what you think runs the school best. But you want to find people who will fit into that culture. Nothing worse than a prima donna in a PLC culture, and almost as bad as a real group person in a place that is very one-to-one. Okay, so those are my wise tips from years of work, remembered on the plane home a few hours later. Okay, anybody have any questions, concerns, or thoughts? Everybody happy? Everybody finished their OMA? Everybody finished their CAP? Finished their skip?
No, sir.
No? Okay. But everyone, we've got the routine down better now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You run through the necessities for the class, and then you get it on to your, hi, how you doing? And then you get on with your See, Michelle's joined us. Mark joined us. Someone joined us a little bit ago and left. Anyway, yeah, the key now is really busting it because you have that due date of what do we say, April 15th? Anything you want scored by an evaluator needs to be in by April 15th. And what you really want scored by the evaluator is your OMA, your CAP, and your SCIP. Absolutely as much of the CAP and SCIP as you can possibly do. And if you can finish it, the better you'll be. Because you're looking at a 10-week summer term that you'll have to be finished after 6 or 7 with your SIAP. Yes, it gets to be a lot more cut and paste, but still, there's a lot to do.
Is it April 15th or May 11th?
May 11th is, I thought the last day to send them to.
That's task stream, I guess. May 11th is task stream.
May 11th has to be in task stream. No,
Okay.
I thought it was April 15th we had to have them done. Let me check on that.
Okay. I had May 11th as
May 11th sounds like the last week of the semester.
right. And everything had to be submitted into task stream by then.
No, that's when
It had gone to the coach and went through Intuit or Turnitin, and all that stuff after it had already been redone and anything that needed to be corrected.
I'm gonna chase that question down. My memory says, and my memory is not always the best one. My memory says anything that's going to go into task stream has to be done by April 15th. You give the evaluators time to do it. I can wait on your discussion boards and that kind of work until May 11th. That's not a problem. You're shaking your heads. You have a different memory.
Well,
no.
I was thinking that you had to have everything turned into like our curriculum coaches by then. But then we had until May 11th to do any fixing and resubmitting and get anything corrected to turn into task stream by May the 11th.
Yeah, and
I could be wrong. I mean,
let me run about the head of the department and figure that out because in reality you don't have to have your scored by the end of the semester because you're not graduating. You're not finishing this. Not graduating. Not finishing. Yeah. So you may be right and I may be wrong, but I'll put a mass email out saying that one. Okay, it'll come out tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns about that kind of stuff? Everybody's doing a good job on the discussion boards. I enjoy that thoroughly every day. Everyone has some great story. Darlene was just telling me a very good story.
Yes, I was. Yes, sir.
But I know the feeling, Darlene.
Yes, sir. Hopefully I'll be able to get through it and everything will be able to go smoothly.
I hope so too. But I think you have right in the law on your side, which is a good combination.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add, or are you ready to start your evening? I'm about ready for bed, frankly. Okay, let's wrap it up, and I'll see you next week, Zoom 11. And then we'll look at making sure that we have a Zoom session every week now until the semester's ready to play out. Okay? You guys have a great week. Have a good week of school. And I guess you're getting ready for school system spring breaks, right? Around Easter?
Yes, sir.
We're good. So we'll have 2 more, and then you guys get a week and enjoy yourself. Take care.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.